Hello everyone! Today I'll be showing you how to make a 3D book cover. To start off, I've already sketched out my basic idea for a Hobbit door, and this will be our guideline for the rest of the video. First off, we're going to need a notebook cover, or just a regular reading book, and then we're going to need some cardboard of different kinds, like I've got some thin pizza boxes and other cardboard. And we also need a pen and pencil and scissors, and then a hot glue gun, and then later we're going to need some paint. To start off, I'm going to take my pizza boxes and cut them all open so it's a whole bunch of flat pieces, and wherever there's a crease in the box, I'm going to cut. Then I'm going to flip over my cardboard and start using my pen and making the outline of the shapes for each of the objects, and I'm going to start with the bushes. And I'm going to mirror the bush so that way when I flip it over again, it'll be the solid cardboard color. And in total, I'm going to end up making 5 for each bush, each one getting smaller as I go. After that, I trimmed them up and then glued them all together, and then started on the second bush and did the exact same thing. Now, taking one of the large pieces of cardboard from the pizza box, I'm going to start with the outer brick ring of the door. This particular piece is going to be in the background, It is going to be a guideline as well for the thicker pieces that we're going to use to build up the frame itself. After I cut it out, I just eyeballed it and trimmed it so that way it was more round, and then I cut off the sides so that way it would be flush with the notebook. Then make a second one. Then using the other cardboard, I'm going to trace one of the thin circles that we just finished and make 4 of them. Now you're going to trace out circles on each cardboard piece and cut it out. And then I went and got a box cutter for this part and made it a lot easier. Make sure to keep at least one circle from each of these pieces, and then we're going to come back with it later and make it a little bit smaller for the actual door. If you cut it out like this, make sure to keep 2 of the little triangle pieces from it. We'll need those for the door later too. Now line up the pieces and glue them together. Now taking the small circle that we saved earlier, we're going to cut it down to be a little bit smaller and round it out. And then also taking those 2 triangular pieces that we saved earlier, we're going to shape up. Now taking the very first big piece that we made, we're going to put it behind all of the thick pieces that we had just finished, and this will be our background for the inside of the house. I sketched out the basic layout of the background or the inside of the house, and then I'm using the scraps of pizza box cardboard to make the shapes, and then I layered each one up, so there were 4 layers for the thickest part, which was the piece in the front, and as it went back it got less and less, so there's only 1. Then after placing all those where they should go, I just went ahead with the brick path and the arch above the doorframe. I just randomly cut some circled squares and rectangles out to make the bricks, and I ended up with 8 bricks in total. And for the small ones, I doubled up on top of another big one. After I finished the bricks, I placed everything on top of the notebook and got a feel for where everything should go, and then I began cutting out the arch over the door frame, and I used the thick cardboard so that way it could have some height, and I had 2 layers of that and then 2 layers of the thin cardboard on top for the pattern. Now it's finally time for paint. I used red, green, black, tan, white, brown, yellow, and silver. And I mixed white and green and yellow for different parts of the door and bushes. And I just kept referring back to the original drawing for the colors. I also added the tiniest drop of black to the red when I added the bricks for the door. I did paint the edges of the little triangle pieces that go behind the door so that way if they were seen, they would blend into the door itself. And then I also did base colors underneath each item on the door to fill in any space that might not be covered. This piece I painted on a big section, and then later I cut it up into small tiles for the floor. These pieces that I'm cutting are from the circles that we had earlier, the little triangle pieces. Now I'm cutting them to fit behind the bushes so that way there isn't such a large gap in between the notebook and the bushes where it hits the door frame. And so after I cut those out, I glued them together. I had 2 layers for each bush, and then I painted them the color of the bush as well. The tiny little piece that I just cut, glued, and painted was the doorknob. And then lastly, I'm just going through all of my pieces and gluing them down from the furthest piece in the back to the front. hope you all liked this video and had fun making this project if you decide to do it, even if you decide to do a different design.